Good morning, Giants. Welcome to Wake Up with Giants TV. Have you ever wondered how depression could be useful? Me too. I'm depressed at how tangled my cords are and my lighting.
I'm depressed that we still use cords.
I
Why do,
know,
why do we even have
right?
cords?
I don't even know why I don't have like some wireless headset, but
You know the Christmas story?
huh?
The Christmas story, everybody watches it every year, and he's got the Christmas tree plugged in, and there's like 400 plugs, and it's all catching on fire. That's my desk underneath.
Truthfully, that's probably mine as well.
Well, that's depressing.
I bought a fancy ring light from Amazon. It's like a double ring light, so it's like double, like double.
And it's
And then
still dark.
no, but I opened it up and it's a return. I was like, I'm
Uh,
not better than that.
dang it.
I'm gonna
God
get a
damn it.
non-return.
Well,
So yeah, that was
let's
it.
dive in. What do you think of when you hear depression, man?
Amazon packages that need to be returned.
That's perfect. Maybe not what yeah. You know
I'm
what?
just kidding. It's depressing.
Yeah. Dude, when I think of depression, Amazon comes to mind. Fulfillment, returns.
Sorry, Amazon.
Well, let's I'm gonna throw in a etymology on it.
Perfect.
Is day for depression, D stands for down, and pair means to strike. So to strike downward is to kind of remove our energy or lower our energy. And depression, they're saying about 30 to 50% of the world population could qualify as having depression. And as a disorder, usually disorders like mental disorders aren't that high. So there's got to be something else at play with depression. And so depression is one of those things that we often look at and we think, I don't want to experience that. I don't want to be depressed. Lisa Feldman Barrett, she says that depression is generally when we fail to measure up to our own ideals, but there seems to be a social component to it as well. And so I want to talk about the positives of depression and how it can actually serve us. Because if you have something happen that doesn't maybe go to plan, depression causes you to withdraw. There's 5 things that I teach in the 12 journeys, and one of those is resignation. So you pull back from whatever's going on, and then you start ruminating and reflecting. They found that people that have depression are actually better problem solvers than those who are not. And so we're able to ruminate and look for solutions. The problem is that people go into that rumination and it can feel so overwhelming, and that striking down of energy that they start to numb out. So they'll go into drugs or alcohol or some kind of addiction, and they'll numb out to it. So they don't ever go through the process of looking through that depression or that rumination for solutions.
Mm-hmm.
And so depression is actually one of those things that causes us to step back, really reflect on the situation. And if we can do expressive writing, they've done some studies that have found that expressive writing during depression can actually lead to solutions and a way out of depression quicker. So you go into that rumination. This is where most people get stuck. They step back and they ruminate, and then they numb, and then they stay in that cycle. And so they don't ever come out of it. And so the other thing that depression does is it gives us a really good glimpse of reality the way that it is. So we step out of I don't know if you'd call it a delusion, but we'd step out of our perception of the world and we look at it for what it is. So we go from that resignation to reflection to reality. And the beauty of that is we start to have a reverence not only for the reality, but we have also more compassion and empathy for other people. So we're actually nicer people. We're more caring. We're more giving. And so from there, the final step, the 5th one, is to re-engage. And so you take that resignation, the rumination, the reality, the reverence for it, the revering, and then you re-engage with life. And so it helps us to move away from situations that maybe no longer serve us, or if we're hitting a stuck point, it helps us to find a solution around that. And so the challenge today is people are so afraid of depression that they don't use it as the tool that it is.
Hmm.
It seems like evolutionarily it was intended to help us move away from something that no longer serves us.
I could see that. I could see how that would be useful. And I think when I've felt it, I've also felt some shame behind it. Some like something's wrong with me.
Yeah, okay.
Type of a deal. And so then I almost like just kind of suppressed it, and just I didn't deal with it, like deal with the issue, or that was at hand. And so then it I don't know where it goes, but it doesn't leave.
Yeah.
It stays with you somehow. I don't know. I don't understand that. And then as I've gotten older and started to be made aware of like maybe my way of being, then I was able to go back, start looking at things and going, oh, that's what that was. Okay, now let's deal with it. Let's feel
Yeah.
it, and then move through it. And
Yeah. I think of grief, the grief cycle.
mhm,
And the first stage in grief is denial, and then anger, and then bargaining. And so we go through that's a total shutdown. It's like the shock of the situation happens. We have this withdrawal, we get angry, and then we go into depression as the next step. So you go denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and then acceptance. So it's interesting that depression comes before acceptance.
mhm,
And it's one of the steps is depression. And depression goes through the stages of withdrawal and rumination and reality. So you get a check with reality, and then reverence for that, and then re-engaging, which moves you right into acceptance. So when you move into acceptance, it's actually giving peace to and grace to whatever's occurring, and it allows us to move forward. And so I love it. I feel like depression, like grief, well, depression is part of grief.
mhm,
It's one of those steps that helps us to really be okay with what is. And the more okay we are with what is, the more likely we are to step into the uncertainty, the unknown, and create, like we
mhm,
talked about. So when we go through our 12 journeys, that's one of the things we do is we teach how to move through that grief and that depression. And it's powerful because once you understand that, it never rules you the same way. You don't have to numb to it because you understand there's a usefulness to it.
Yeah, I think my grandfather passed away a few days ago, and it was a different. Knowing some of these tools has helped me. Not that it's not sad; it is very sad, and it's hard to lose somebody that you love. Um, I s- I just felt into it and allowed it to be, cried,
Mm,
and got some hugs,
yeah.
and expressed, my sadness, but gratitude as well. And I'm sure, there'll be a funeral, but at the same time, and I'll be able to, to grieve with my family. But it moved through quicker as I knew,
Yeah.
and I was
Yeah.
able to accept it for what it was. But also, I know, who he was, and the memories, and who I am, even inside of all of that. And so it actually passed pretty quick.
Yeah. You're
Where I
hitting,
used to get stuck,
yeah.
like for a while, and then
You're
getting
hitting on another
engaged.
R.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah. Well, you are. I mean, it's perfect.
you are.
What's a pirate's favorite letter? R.
Arr.
No, the sixth R is resilience, your ability to move through it, how quickly you can move through it. So the five R's of resignation, reflection, reality, reverence, and re-engagement are all part of that resilience, which is, like you just said, like in the past, you would have taken a lot of time to go through that process. Now it moves quicker. I'm going through the same thing, not the death or grief that way, but learning how to move through it quicker.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very useful. Waking up, if you wake up in a depressed state, low energy state, which is pretty common, just recognizing that is part of, okay, what are we trying to problem solve today? And move into problem solving rather than numbing.
Yeah. And then
So,
engagement, like getting engaged into things,
yeah,
into useful things as well as, at least helps me.
yeah,
It's just my personality. If I could sleep in and feel down and the woe is me's, and just, but get up and do my routine and do my show and love it.
ain't nothing
Love it.
to it.
Ain't
Yeah,
nothing to it.
but
Just
do
do it. Yeah.
it. Awesome. Any other thoughts around that?
I think that there's a lot of people out there that have felt the same way, and there might be other useful things that they do,
Yeah,
and tips and tricks that work for them
yeah,
and their
that'd be awesome.
personalities. So if they subscribe on YouTube, they can comment in the comments and get the alerts too, and then help other people. Comment on Facebook, come join the Tribe of Giants, and have those discussions where we can learn from each other. I think that would be useful, because this is just our point of view. We're going through those processes and those steps, which are real, but then inside of that, everybody's a little different, and so their
Yeah,
experiences can
that'd
be
be
useful
awesome.
to each other. So that's
Yeah,
what I would
please
say.
do. I like that. Remember, if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button on YouTube, especially make those comments there, because that's how YouTube boosts us up on the algorithms, helps us get seen. And so if you could do that, that would be helpful. And that's it, man. You guys are exactly where you're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Go. Did I say pee?
Yeah, go. You're exactly where
You're
you're
exactly where you're supposed to
supposed to
pee
pee and be.
and be.
And sometimes you be where you pee and pee where you be.
Yeah, sometimes it goes that way. Go make it a giant day. We'll see you in the next video.
I love you too.